Welcome to Court Helicopter News, where we are looking at Cap 141 of the laws of Kenya, that is the Children's Act. Naturally, every child is born with a mother, a biological mother and a biological father. That father and that mother are provided for in the law to be the biological children. But are you aware there are other legal methods to give birth without going to a maternity hospital? Do you want to avoid going to Pumwani Maternity Hospital and get a child? Don't steal a child. Don't go stealing children. The law provides for how you can have a child. Today, we are looking at the aftercare principles. There are 4 types of alternative family care. One, we'll be looking at what is called foster care. When I talk about foster care, this is an arrangement where somebody's child stays with another person, and that person appears almost to be like a father. Have you ever stayed with your cousin? Have you ever come to Nairobi to look for a job? Have you ever been called to a school in Kisumu and you are told to go and stay with your aunt there? Have you ever stayed with a relative? Has your child ever stayed with somebody else? That arrangement is called foster care. But the law says that arrangement needs to be regularized by the Director of Children's Services. So don't allow children to be in your place without that arrangement. In the event anything happens, then you will be found liable because the law did not confer power to you to stay with your sister's kid, with your brother's kid. That is what is called foster care arrangement. The second method is guardianship. Guardianship, you move to the magistrate's court. Today here we are in the High Court. We'll be dealing with another concept there. At the magistrate's court, for example, your kids who are staying with you, you want to put them into a SHA. You want to put them into an insurance company. You want these kids to travel with you, not out of the country. You want them to travel with you elsewhere. You want a document to show that you have legal responsibility. You want you to put your kid, this kid who is not yours, into a medical cover. Then you will apply to the magistrate's court, where you will make an application to be appointed a guardian, and the court will appoint you a guardian for the purpose of this. Children whose parents have died and they're orphans, relatives have taken them in. Those relatives need to have what is called a guardianship order. But the guardianship order does not make this child your own child. A guardianship order does not give you the power to live out of the country because you have a guardianship. That is the second way for one to be a guardian of a child. The third way is the way what you call adoption. Adoption is done in the High Court, the family division of the High Court. That is where the adoption is done. There are 2 types of adoption. There is kinship adoption and there is international adoption. Kinship adoption is when your relative, who was your sister, a single mother, has died, or both the parents have died. Then at the burial, you've heard people say, watoto wa mtoto wetu wasisumbuke, wewe sasa umepewa wale watoto. These are children that you have a blood relation to. Then you want to take care of those children and they become yours. It is called kinship adoption. You go to the High Court, you prove that these are children of your brother dead, these are children of your sister dead, and you want to adopt them to be yours. You will go to the High Court and that adoption is done within the family. It's called kinship adoption. The last one that we shall be looking at is what is normally referred to as adoption or international adoption. Here, who can be adopted? The child must be over 6 weeks. That child must be declared to be free for adoption. What does that mean? That child must go to a children's society. Here we are talking of child welfare society and other societies for that child to be assessed whether indeed that child needs to be adopted. They will look whether the child was abandoned. For example, a child who is abandoned, you carry that child to the children's office or to a police station. The police investigate and find that they cannot trace who threw this child out. That child will be taken to a society, and that child will be declared free to be adopted. Then the question, who can adopt? Anybody who wants to adopt a child must be 21 years older than that child. 2, that person must not be insolvent. That is, he must not be bankrupt. 3rd, that person must be married. 4th, that person must be financially stable to take care of that child. Lastly, that person should not have what we call a criminal record. Although there are exceptions of single people adopting, but it is very rare under exceptional circumstances. After you have gotten that, you are assessed, you are given that child to adopt. That child, you must stay with that child for a long duration of around 3 months continuously. The welfare society monitoring whether there is body chemistry between you and that child. After that, you come to court. Once you come to court, you will be, if you fit, the Director of Children's Services will investigate you through what is called a guardian ad litem processes. You come to court. After court, the High Court will give you an adoption certificate. What is the effect of an adoption certificate? An adoption is done here at the High Court. This High Court becomes now the maternity wing. It is a delivery room. In a maternity, there is the midwife. Inside here, this judge who sits here becomes the midwife. Then you walk out of this place with a child who is yours. What does that mean? That child now ceases completely forever from being a child of your mother, your stepmother, from being a child of Njoroge, from being a child of Otieno, to you now, the new parents. So the new parents give birth inside here, they walk out and go with their child. That is a permanent way, it cannot be reversed. The child will now have a birth certificate of the new parents who have adopted that child. Suppose this child becomes a thief. Suppose this child becomes a problem. Can you return this child here and say, Judge, me, this child is bad? No. Adoption is permanent and irreversible. 2, the child will inherit the property of the new parents of that child. 3, the child ceases being a child of the other parent to a new parent. Answer: have you ever bought bread and you're paid for it from a supermarket? You go and you get the bread is white bread. What you wanted was a brown bread. You cannot return that bread to a supermarket. So you cannot return this child and say, now, Judge, I don't want. It is permanent completely. What about the parents, the biological parents of this child? Later they come and see this child, Cyrus, has become a serious lawyer like Danstan Omari. He has become a serious journalist. Can they now say, no, we have changed our mind. We need this child back. This is our DNA testing. The court will not allow that. You cannot go reclaiming a child because that child now has become better. Adoption is permanent. You, court helicopter follower, don't give your child to your aunt so that that aunt is going to the US because they have a green card, and you expect once that kid has gone to America, you reclaim back. It is permanent. You cannot reverse an adoption order. That marks the end of alternative family care episode that has dealt with that you can be a parent without undergoing a biological process of conceiving and giving birth to a child. Thank you very much. Wakili Danstan Omari.